We are It's Just a Hill, a cycling club that promotes inclusion, judgment-free, with no gatekeepers. Focused on creating content from behind the handlebars to in the studio, It's Just a Hill is producing videos and podcasts to spread the message that cycling is for everyone. We are focused on reminding everyone that riding your bike can help you overcome any obstacle, because after all, it's just a hill. Hello and welcome to another episode of the It's Just a Hill podcast. What was the term you guys used for me before? The moderator? Is that
Moderator.
that's what you think of me?
Yeah.
Moderating.
Hi, I'm the moderator, John. Let's go around the circle and say our names.
Oh, yeah, I'm Jeremy.
Hi.
I'm Brian.
I'm Noah.
We've all been here before. We've done this. Maybe not here, in another place. Mm-hmm. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. How have you been? Good? How's life?
Great.
Good?
I've been good.
Just ate pad thai.
Yep.
So
We rode. No, we had class earlier.
Yeah, I had a class earlier, but I still rode here, so got a ride in.
That's nice. How's class going?
I have a final next week's finals, so
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the end of
So,
the semester.
Yeah, this is like this third to last class. It was a natural resource economics class.
Wow.
So
Does that mean do you get a bunch of time off after, or you just go right back into the swing of things in the summer?
this summer, we more focused on research.
Oh, okay. Not as many
related
classes.
tabs, yeah. And then next semester, actually, I just have to take 3 more classes, and then I'm done with classwork and just have to take research credits.
Nice. So that's almost like more of your own schedule?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Nice. Okay. Cool.
Sweet.
So there were a couple things that we'll touch on. One of the first things that we sort of discussed things that we wanted to talk about before. Jeremy, something that you brought up was like talking about like more in depth about like signaling and safety, the importance behind that. Is there anything like specific that you wanted to touch on? That because it is something that maybe we've talked about briefly.
Yeah.
But I do think it's like an important thing to like happen, especially when you're riding. Well, maybe only when you're riding with other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes I point out holes in the road when I'm by myself, but it's just out of habit.
yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, I do it when I'm running now.
Yeah, I do it in my car after a long ride. Like I'll point out something. But yeah, what is like why did you think that would be a good thing to talk about?
Well, after getting into a little crash recently, we all know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just been more conscious about letting people know what my next move is.
Sure.
Not just holes in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, if you are looking down at your GPS, there's a good chance that somebody else doesn't know that a turn is coming. So you could just yell, right turn ahead.
Right.
And it's not like nobody's paying attention. It's just you're throwing it out there kind of thing.
Yeah, it's better to communicate than like assume that someone knows what's happening, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And, other than that, like I point out holes in the road.
Yep.
And, there's only so much you can do. Sometimes you don't see holes. And
Yeah. But even like you said, like calling things out as opposed to just signaling.
Right.
Because someone might not see your hand signal.
right.
Right. So it's better to be
Right.
communicative. Is that a word?
Communicative.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
I think so. Communicative.
Well, Noah sort of gave me a so I don't know.
Yeah, he's the doctor.
He's like the intellectual in the room.
MD.
Better to communicate. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Communicative. Yeah, better to communicate.
That's the name. If the podcast had names, then it would be communicative.
What was the word we were just saying before this started? Earned.
Earned.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Not a word.
You earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Good to, when you're pointing, to also say what you're pointing at.
Right.
Yeah. Something else that I do, but not a lot of other people do it. I don't know if, there's probably some things that...
Is he about to brag about something?
No, it's not a brag.
Okay.
I don't think it's a brag. No, it's not.
Brag.
Instead of using the hand that you're closest to the turn, what am I trying to say? I always use my left hand to signal turns. It's like it's like a standard motorcycle thing.
Uh-huh.
And the reason I do that, it's not because I want to be different. I always like to have my right hand on my rear brake.
Yeah.
So my left hand is always, my signaling hand.
Sure.
And I try to take my right hand off of my hood as little as possible, or like, always be able to react quicker.
Are you a rear brake dominant rider? Because I'm a front brake dominant rider.
So you grab your front brake more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I use my
Yeah.
front brake more than I use my rear brake.
wow.
for sure.
Yeah, I use my rear brake.
Because momentum's on my side that way.
That is true.
You know? If I'm stopping the weight going forward, as soon as you let go on that front brake, then you're still, that momentum is still, I feel like it's in a more of a forward action as opposed to a rear brake.
Huh.
Yeah.
I never thought
And like,
of it that way.
I feel like growing up, when you're young and you're learning how to ride a bike, an adult might tell you like not to use your front brake, right? Because as a kid, maybe you have the tendency to like jam on that brake, and then that means you're going to go flying over the bars. But I like to think that maybe I'm a little bit more experienced than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a front brake dominant rider.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely grab my rear brake more than my front brake.
Noah, is there a brake that you favor over one over the other?
Oh, geez.
Depends on how you're riding, maybe.
Yeah. Well, when you're
That would definitely change with gravel, right?
Yeah, when you're
Right.
mountain biking, you tend to want to use your front brake more because if you grab your rear brake, you're gonna your back tire is gonna slide out. So
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
more control in the front.
Yep. Brian?
Probably same.
Yep.
I use both of them a lot. Like I'll brake at the same time.
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of just a habit. But yeah, I think I'm more front brake dominant also.
I think it's also a valid point to be signaling with your left hand because that's the one that traffic is going to see.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, traffic is more likely to see that left hand because it's out in the
Right.
in
Yeah, is
traffic.
there like a way to do it? Like, is that the like pointing like this, and is that like what you're supposed to do in cycling?
I think what Jeremy does is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
But that goes back to like
Air
unwritten
quotes.
rules, which
Yeah,
are
right,
like bullshit. You know.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think it's good to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because
I've never seen any other cyclists that we've ridden with use left hand only turn signal.
No,
no,
it's
no.
always left or right.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're turning right, you bring your right hand out. If you're turning left, you put your left hand out.
Right, right.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I do. I mean,
In like driving school, they teach you that.
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you're taking a right and you're using your left hand, you do the fun
You
little.
can't point your right arm out the window.
Right. So you do the fun little L.
Yeah.
Yeah, the L shape out the window.
Yeah. And then if you're going to brake in the car, you go
Yeah.
opposite L. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar rules to cycling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that just carried over. And it's just something I noticed that I do. Not that anybody needs to change because of that, but that's my reasoning behind me signaling like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it makes sense. It seems like very valid. I'm going to try it more.
Left
Thanks for bragging. Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Just flex on everyone. Real quick. Left hand only.
Yeah, so I think that in communication in general when you're riding is important for safety, right? I mean, it isn't. People that I work with recently were telling me that they're like, you have a dangerous hobby, and they said it in the way that I was like I know it's like cycling like can be dangerous, but I never thought of it like as inherently dangerous. I don't know. Do you guys think of it as like inherently dangerous?
I do.
No.
You do.
Yeah.
No.
I would say it's the other people. It's the people around you, I guess, that make it dangerous, like people in cars.
Uh-huh. Yep.
But I don't know.
But that makes
I
it
guess
dangerous to an extent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on the type of riding you do.
more dangerous
also.
than-
Sure.
Yeah, there are definitely some types of bike riding that are significantly more dangerous than
Downhill
others.
mountain biking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably.
And that there's no cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
But you're bombing down a mountain, right? A ski slope in the summer or something, right? Because that's normally how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more dangerous than crocheting, for sure.
Sure. Sure.
I don't know, those needles.
Yeah. Yeah. If you haven't gotten your tetanus shot, you're using some rusty needles or something. I don't know.
Now, if you're crocheting while you're cycling now.
Okay. Yeah. That ups the ante.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but definitely on your point, I think it's better to over communicate than
Yeah.
to under communicate. Like not saying something is far worse than pointing to every single pothole. Like I think people will
Yeah.
appreciate that more than if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I agree. Sometimes I think I might point at too many things, but it's safer than the alternative of
Right.
not pointing at things. Right. Yeah. So start pointing at things if you don't. We're not telling you what to do, but this is a very strong suggestion.
Just a good habit to get into.
No, it is a good
You're
habit.
gonna ruin people's days behind you.
Right.
Especially too when you ride with a lot of different people and stuff. You know, if you ride the same people, you might have group dynamics that
Sure.
are figured before the ride heads out. And if it's new
Right.
people, it never hurts to just be extra safe. And
Yeah, I think that even goes like at the beginning of a group ride, right? Like I've been to some group rides and like no one says anything to anyone. You know, like not only just like the antisocialness that I think happens like when someone pulls up to a ride and just like puts their helmet on or whatever, but like
just being like, hey, this is the type of ride that we're gonna do. You know, like we're gonna go after these like efforts here, or we're gonna do a recovery ride or whatever. You know, like that just form of communication is better. Not only in cycling, but like in everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next segment. Moving on. Brian, something that you shared with the chat the other day. There's a new Lauf bike out.
What's it called?
The Seigla, Seigla. How would you say that? Seigla?
Seigla. They're Icelandic, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We pronounce something else.
It adds
Seigla.
increased tire clearance. You know it's European because tires with a Y.
Yeah.
And softer stays. So frame flex and increased tire clearance designed to minimize buzz. So Brian, you have a Lauf. Jeremy does too. What models do you guys have?
I have the True Grit.
Uh-huh.
I have the Weekend Warrior, but I think it's also considered the True Grit.
Yours is the Weekend Warrior.
Uh-oh.
Is it?
Which I think is now a model of the Segal, because if you look at it, there's like a whole bunch of different ones.
Yeah, it's an evolution of the brand's True Grit gravel bike and features much improved tire clearance and drop stays that give around 4 millimeters of vertical displacement. What does that mean? 4 millimeters of vertical displacement.
For travel.
Like,
Essentially, it's like on mountain bikes, they have two options now for suspension, which is you have joints
Yep.
on the back, where now you have these flex stays. So
Okay,
it
gotcha.
actually flexes slightly.
Gotcha. The chain stays on my Salsa have some flex to them too. So that's what that means. There's
Yeah, yeah.
4 millimeters of play there. Interesting.
And it's because
Yeah.
they're mounting them into the seat post. So like on that, it's dropped more or less. So it's not directly into where the top
Right,
tube
right.
meets.
And it's supposed to be more
Yeah.
comfortable.
more comfortable.
Right,
Which seems
overall.
like a lot of bike companies, like the new Super 6 Evo.
Yep, the Tarmacs.
All the bike companies seem to be adopting that
Drop
technology.
chain stays, yeah, that come lower than the top tube. I'm
Yeah.
pointing to this bike that's in the room if you're just listening. But yeah, it comes below the top tube, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. I mean, this like you can fit super ass
What is it?
wide
Super
tires.
ass tires. What is it? 57s.
57s are 2.25 inches, I think, for the 29ers.
Yeah, huge. The tires are huge.
I think the True Grit is 45, which is what I have the True Grit. So that's 7 more
yeah,
C's.
yeah, 700 circumference and 57 centimeters, or like you said, 29 and 2.25 inch tires, like more mountain bike style.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Kinda
I mean,
sick.
Noah, you ride generally wider tires on your gravel bike,
Yeah.
right? And this is something that we've talked about before. People tend to think that wider tires have higher rolling resistance and they slow you down. And what is your experience with riding on a wider tire, and why do you enjoy it? Or why do you choose to do that?
Yes, I ride what's called a Gray's Wormhole,
Hell
which
yeah.
is this small bike company out of Massachusetts that Mythic Bike Works deals with.
Yep.
That started off as a downhill mountain bike company, and I run the Gravel King SKs, which are 50 mil. They have a 50 millimeter tire option.
Yep.
And definitely for Rhode Island, to connect the dirt in Rhode Island.
Yes,
like there's
right.
a lot of single track stuff you can ride, but it's also really fun to ride because it kind of brings back the bike to its original state as like a rigid mountain bike. So that's why I kind of enjoy that, just to ride that stuff. Their rolling resistance is great. Especially the Gravel Kings. They're not knobby. They have some tread, but it's not too crazy. Low rolling resistance. And like some of the other fun stuff you can do is like throw cush core now. They have gravel specific cush core. And actually Mike just threw some in his bike. We've been doing this thing called trodeoing. Which
Okay.
is inspired after the new Pearl Izumi kit that we just got in the
Oh,
shop.
very
That's
cool.
the Rodeo. It's
Yep.
like a gravel specific race
yep,
kit.
yep.
So we've been going to Big River and just riding all the like flowy single track
Yep.
on these bikes. We've been calling it trodeoing.
And now, do you have cush core in your bike?
No, I don't. But so I don't run the tires low enough
Yep.
or the tire pressure low enough. But you could. Yeah.
How would you explain? Some people might not
yeah.
know what that is. How would you explain what cush core is?
Essentially, what cush core is, it's like a foam pad that's circular like your wheel, and it insets into the rim, and it basically provides cushion so that way you can run a lower PSI and not worry about slapping your rim if you're riding mountain bike or gravel off road. And it initially was just mountain bike specific, so they had an XC and I think they had a 29-inch wheel. So now they make a 700C specific for.
Well, can you run like 20 psi?
Oh yeah, like on the. I mean, you can run like 5 psi with 50 millimeter tires. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're not fun to necessarily log up a hill, but
Sure.
if you're going for a longer off-road ride where you in Rhode Island, so like we're going to talk about later, Greasy Joe's.
Right,
Something like that where you want to ride the chunk. It's nice just because it's a more comfortable ride.
Yeah.
And I think one of the true powers in gravel bikes, and I keep going back and forth in my opinion of them and what they should really be called, which is, I feel like an all-around bike, because it really does everything.
It sure does. Yeah.
And
All road bike is a
yeah.
thing that people like, that brands will use, that
Yeah.
terminology. Yeah.
It has this really awesome ability to, you can really adventure with it because you can ride on a road section and you're not lugging 29 or 2.5 inch or 2.25 inch tires up a hill. But at the same time, it handles well on trails and you can run these bigger tires on them. So it makes it kind of fun bike. Yeah.
Yeah, more all around.
Yeah.
Right. Because like we talk about, you go on a gravel ride, and it's so nebulous, like what that term is, right? Not only the bike, but like the type of ride.
Right,
Like,
the type of ride.
you're finding fire roads, which what I would call like something that's as wide as a normal paved road or an average paved road, but it's rocks and sand.
Right.
And then you're connecting those roads with paved roads.
Right.
So you don't want to, like you said, run something with cush core and 5 psi on a paved road up a hill
up a
because
hill.
that tire's sagging
Yeah.
and you're like losing
Yeah.
that momentum, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're going to go on some single track that's like even more technical,
Right.
then it's really all across the board. It's
Yeah.
not just a gravel ride. Like that's just
right.
like you're just throwing this term out there, right?
Yeah.
And I think it came across. I mean, sure, gravel's been around for a while, right? Gravel riding's been around for a while, but you sort of looked at it in like the old school way of cycling of like road and mountain bike and like
right.
what's in between.
This hybrid thing
Right,
that's
right.
suddenly appeared.
So people call it gravel, but different people are totally different gravel rides,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
some maniacs like you will say,
Jim Grimley.
yeah, or Grimley, right? Or
Jason.
like the ride that you did yesterday
Yeah.
with Patrick, right?
Yeah.
There was some gnarly single track in there, like really technical stuff.
Yeah,
and
some like proper hiking.
and
trails
some
stuff.
people might just call that a gravel ride,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're gonna go on the road a little bit. It's not just a mountain bike. You're riding a bike that's like more. The frame size is similar to a road bike, right?
right,
Like in the sort of the ergonomics of that frame is similar to a road bike. It's not like a full suspension mountain bike.
Right,
so
right. Although you can get full suspension gravel
Yeah,
bikes now.
you can.
Niner has one.
Niner has one.
Really?
Yeah, Niner has one, and then I know your fork uses flex as well, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
and
and
then
your
there's-
Lael.
30 millimeters of travel or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that-
that looks very different than what do you call like a mount? I don't ride mountain bikes at all,
suspension
right?
fork,
Yeah, so
yeah.
a suspension fork that has like the
that
two
has,
stanchions or
stanchions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can actually get rock shocks. No, excuse me. Fox now has a
Oh,
gravel
yeah.
fork, but I gripe over that slightly because it's like, why would we make rigid road bikes to ride on dirt and then give it I don't know, a
Right.
fork, suspension fork? But
Right.
I understand where it's going with. It's like this whole comfort thing and such, but still, yeah.
I kind of like the handlebar suspension thing. What's that called?
Oh yeah, that the Diverge has. The,
yeah, Specialized has that. What do they call
You
that?
can get them on the Roubaix as
Future
well.
Shock.
Yes, yeah.
Future-
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, but it's like right below the
It's-
stem where the stem and the fork meet
The
essentially.
only bad thing that I hear about it is when you're climbing, when you're standing up in the saddle and climbing, you're like
just flexing it.
you're like pushing down on it.
Sure.
Whereas like my Lauf, you can't really feel it when you're doing that.
It's
Gotcha.
like a pogo stick going up the
Yeah.
All right, and I think a lot of like maybe say traditional mountain bike suspension forks, you can lock those out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Now, can you lock the Lauf suspension out? No, you can't.
It's like a leaf spring on
Gotcha.
like a truck.
Gotcha.
But it's so stiff.
Right.
It really only reacts when it's like
When it
hitting
needs
rocks.
to.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
like, I don't know if they do this with a lot of bikes, but like I used to have a Specialized Epic,
Yep.
and they had what was called the Brain, and it was went to the rear shock, and it was essentially it would act so that the shock would only be activated if it felt vibration.
Oh, really?
But once it stops working, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, you can have all these amazing suspension forks and everything else, but if they're
Do you
not
have to-
operating
Is
properly,
that like electronic? Do you have to charge?
no, it uses the same as like in a suspension fork. There's oil and it uses pressure and it fills it, and then so.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And then you can like change the damper on it and how fast the rebound is and such. So.
Interesting. Another like new piece of tech that's like just being introduced into like the pro peloton. Team DSM was supposed to use this for Paris-Roubaix. I think they ended up not using it, but it is it's something that goes on the hub to adjust your tire pressure on the fly. Have you guys heard of this at all?
Yeah, it's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, so it's built into your hub like a dynamo hub, right, to like get power, but it is hooked up via the hub and a lever on your hoods, and one of your spokes will adjust the inflation of your tire on the fly. So if you're riding in something like, say, Paris-Roubaix, or something that is a mixed type of ride that goes from tarmac to, say, cobblestones, you can adjust the pressure. So you're going to go to the cobblestones, you're going to drop the pressure live while you're riding. You don't have to stop.
What the hell?
Or you jack the pressure back up. Yeah.
You have like a button on your hoods or something?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there a way to set what the pressure changes?
Yeah, there's probably a predetermined thing that you.
Yeah, so you can set it like between. Yeah, if there's different like options as to how to set it. So you can go like, say you want to go 50 or 80, right, depending on what it is, or you can just keep it like within a range, and if it drops below the range, it'll like pump it back up for you too. So if you're slowly losing pressure, like say you get a puncture with tubeless, but you're still spinning, but maybe you lost some pressure, or your tire burps, right, and you lose some pressure, it will automatically read it via your head unit and then reinflate.
Wow. So is that an electric compressor? Is that what it is?
It's gotta be.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
I could see that getting adopted on a lot of race gravel bikes.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
The gravel pros using that type of technology now.
Does it say how much additional weight it adds?
I don't.
What if your
I
Shimano
don't see
carbons
that.
break in half? Do they have a...
Yeah, that's
They'll
what happens
just
when you
keep
ride
trying to
on a
fill.
flat on cobblestones. You got a flat and you want to keep hammering, and so
It
your
happened-
Shimano Dura Ace 2
It
happened
to two,
twice.
yeah.
Happened to Wout van Aert and Christophe Laporte during Paris-Roubaix. Both of their wheels.
Both Shimano.
Yep, Shimano Dura Ace wheels. So, not great.
Don't buy those.
You can buy them for me if you want. If you want to
Okay.
buy them for me, you can. All right, so yeah, we're talking about a little bit of pro cycling. Lael Wilcox has been in the news lately, right? How would you guys go about describing Lael Wilcox? An endurance rider, right? She is a pro rider. She's sponsored, but she recently did what is it called? The Arizona Trail?
Yeah, Arizona Trail.
Yeah, and Noah, what happened to Lael Wilcox? I have an article here in front of me, but she did this the AZT 800. It's 827 miles across the state of Arizona from the U.S.-Mexico border to the Utah border. She did it in the fastest known time, but they're not recognizing it. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's because of some bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened? Do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, so basically it was one of the rules they have for these types of events is that they're considered completely unsupported. You can't have a loved one, for example, in this case, I think her wife is the one who records or makes the
gotcha.
documentaries and does a lot of that work.
Yep.
And I believe she was with her
Yep.
during parts of it. And there was some other things that they weren't really clear about in their post. They just said that she had violated the rule, which was actually having a recording crew with you, because these are
Right.
technically supposed to be fully unsupported races. But it's not. I think what has created some tension is that there have been other cyclists who have Lachlan Moore and
Yep.
Peter Stetna, who have also taken FKTs with a crew documenting parts of it.
Yeah.
But there weren't the same repercussions for them. So I think it was unclear on if it was what was driving these. If it was
gotcha.
a rule that was violated. Or
Yeah, because they're
something
saying that her time will be noted, but not recognized for the record.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because of no media crews. So you talk about self-supported, right?
Right.
She is doing it all on her own, right? Like, now to have someone out there filming you is cool, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like what we like to do, like, right? Like make videos about our stuff and like share the story or like share the triumph of it. Sure, there is like the camaraderie behind it, right? You get to stop and like talk to someone, but
She
I
still
mean-
did it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, she still did it.
stopped. She got her own food.
And
Yep.
I think what should be taken into account is kind of why they're documenting this, which is Lael Wilcox is a very profound figure for
Yeah.
women's cycling.
absolutely.
And I think, it's very relatable to a broader community to see someone like Lael doing an event like that. So that's why I think it's slightly disappointing that she won't be recognized for what she's done. Because she
Right.
beat both men's and women's FKT for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the
event.
previous fastest times were 9 days, 10 hours and 44 minutes, and then 10 days, 18 hours in 2021. 2 men did it. And she crushed it. 9 days, 8 hours and 23 minutes. There's actually a part of that trail where you need to hike for more than 20 miles
24
through
miles.
the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
She
Right.
hiked 24 miles with her bike on her back.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That backpack thing she has.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
she I think, you know, there's pictures of her like wrapping up slices of cheesecake, you know, like fully like
She ate a pint of ice cream with a toothbrush.
Yeah, when she finished.
yeah, she rules.
She does rule. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, and it sucks that they're not. I mean, it's great, right? We're talking about it. I think a lot of people are rightfully upset that she's not getting the recognition that she deserves to get. Whether or not that will change, I don't think it will. Like, the sort of old guard of cycling is, I think, maybe some of the worst things in cycling, right? Like, the sort of older generation, right? We talked about unwritten rules earlier. People think that you should just like follow every rule or like, and not question anything, which to me is like everything I stand against in life. Like, question everything, right? And like, what she did is an amazing feat, and she should be recognized for it. So, we here at the It's Just a Hill podcast recognize Lael Wilcox. We'll happily have her on or give her a t-shirt.
She's very friendly. I made a note about it on Instagram, and she actually replied to my
that's amazing.
Or my message, and gave a few words of advice for endurance riding. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. We should do a ride with her.
Yeah, we should.
Lael, if you want to ride, hit us up.
Yeah, Lael, we'll ride anywhere.
I love ice cream.
Ice cream's great. Cheesecake.
Ziploc bag of hot dogs and
Yeah.
ball grinder in the top two.
Meatball sub.
Yeah.
Kingston pizza.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like the if we staying on the topic of pro cycling, it's sort of the end of the 2022 Spring Classics. We were just watching some highlights from Liège, Bastogne Liège. Remco Evenepoel was the winner. Pretty exciting. Bad crash in there. Julien Alaphilippe went down pretty bad. He had multiple rib fractures and a collapsed lung, so that's not good. But the Grand Tours are right around the corner. The Giro starts in just 2 weeks. I know not everyone that rides bike might not watch pro cycling, which is okay. To me, I love pro cycling. I'm very excited for the Giro to start. The Giro d'Italia, if you haven't heard of it, it's like the Tour de France, but for Italy. There are 3 major Grand Tours every year. There's the Tour of France, the Tour of Italy, and the Tour of Spain, the Vuelta de España. I don't have a good Spanish accent. But yeah, the Giro's the next one up. It starts on May 6th. It goes through May 29th. 20 stages over 3 weeks. It's been organized since 1909. And last year's winner, Egan Bernal, will not be participating this year. We talked about him previously and his injuries. But to us, on our level, more important than pro cycling are events that we have coming up, right? So Noah, you mentioned Greasy Joe's before. I think we're all do Greasy Joe's this year, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna pull it up here in a second. I actually was looking at it just the other day, but there are multiple routes for Greasy Joe's.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is Greasy Joe's, Brian? How would you describe it? No. Okay. No. How would you describe it?
I know the history of Greasy Joe's. I've only done it once, so
okay. You did it last year.
I did it last year. It was my first time. Cool. Yeah, it used to be a NECT event, which was the New England cycling team out of Providence, which is still a semi-organized bike group.
Yep.
They mostly race like cyclocross. Matt Giles, who hosts this, is a member of that, and it was like a bike reg event that was hosted in Rhode Island, and then just because of complications with making it a proper sanctioned event, it's become more of a grassroots meetup.
Right.
So Greasy Joe's was originally called Greasy Joe's because it started at Greasy Joe's.
At Greasy Joe's.
Above Big River on New London Turnpike.
Right.
Which has since been moved to the
What is Greasy Joe's?
It's a garage.
It's an old garage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Across the street from a parking lot in Big River. Yeah, so it's a 52 mile, 3,500 feet gravel grinder on basically Rhode Island's wonderful dirt.
Right. So it starts in the Coventry, West Greenwich area, goes through Big River, connects to Arcadia, right?
And then it hits some of the hard hitters in Arcadia, like 2 Mile Smile, Tanner Washout. So 2 Mile Smile is called that because it's like a 1.8 mile section of basically an old riverbed.
Right.
Slightly uphill. It goes up Falls River Road, which is the only switchback in Rhode Island.
Yep.
And if you've ridden up that before, it's a steep dirt road.
Yep.
Tanner Washout is just like this baby boulder head size just trail of just
Yeah.
crap, and it's all washed out right now. And
That's how you know that people who ride off road are cooler than people who ride just on the road, because they use terms like "there's the boulders the size of baby heads," and they don't like you don't ever just like hang on it. It's just like, yeah, there's boulders the size of baby heads, and you're gonna go through that, and then it's like and so you mentioned the shorter.
I was gonna say that's the shorter route.
The
That's the classic
Hellraiser loop.
Yeah,
Right.
Hellraiser is this new one, which is just more bony stuff to ride through.
82
miles, 5,600 feet of climbing.
And I've been told by Jason it runs almost at 90 was what it feels like.
It feels like 90 miles.
Yeah, it feels like 90 miles.
Right, and 90 miles off road feels like a lot more than 90 miles on on paved roads. It's a long day.
It's a long day. Yeah. Cool parts about this event, it's totally free.
Right, great.
There's limited support, so there are 2 food stops, I believe. And the nice part is if you show up and you want to do the Hellraiser and suddenly halfway through, you go, you know what, I don't got it in me. They essentially mirror each other in some instances, and you can bail and get on the other one. And even last year, I did the classic with Todd Gregory, who is a South Kingstown resident, also a very, very good mountain biker. And he was whipping my, you know what, on the chunky stuff, because I was pretty new to gravel at that point. But it was still a day, and it took us like 3.5 hours.
Right, this is going to be a full
52.
day.
For the 52.
Yeah, the 80. Are we all doing the 82?
Yeah.
I could not do the whole
I got 42s for my bike for that, so
You got 42s?
I got 42 Gravel Kings.
I'm still keeping my BMX tires on mine.
That's slicks.
But yeah, like there are people who do on single. There was a guy last year was on a single speed, and by the end we passed him on the London Turnpike going back, and he was pretty defeated.
Yeah,
so
I mean it's a
hard
long day. This is so. Yeah, I mean anyone's open to do this. It's May 7th. Official start time is between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. This podcast might come out the day of, so I'm not sure if you're listening to this now. It might be put your bibs on right now and drive to Hopkins Hill Road. Go ahead.
I was going to ask if you knew what because there's a puzzle stop and a
what is the
stop.
puzzle
Do you know
stop?
what the puzzle stop
I don't
is?
know. That's a new addition, but like usually
Do you have to
there's.
solve a puzzle to continue on?
I'm not sure what's up with that, but I know the other stop is there's a whiskey shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which is if you do the classic loop, it's on Old 10 Rod Road right before you go across the street to Blitzkrieg.
Cool.
And that's a good time. And then at the end, like if you hang around, everybody hangs around and talks with each other. And it's a good community.
Yeah, to me, the puzzle stop seems like Jigsaw is like setting this up. This seems like something out of the Saw franchise, if you'd ask me. I mean, sure, it is the Hellraiser loop, which is like a Pinhead reference. I'm looking at the route here in front of me, and this is the beginning of the description of the route. Open quotes. Suffer? How dare you use such a word? You know nothing of suffering. I exist only to share its meaning. Sin and suffering are my dominion. Perhaps it's time you learned a little of the matters you seek to manage. Close quote. Pinhead from the Cenobite Hellraiser. Pinhead is the opening quote of this. It's gonna be a painful day, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Reluctantly looking forward to it, but looking forward to it.
The puzzle thing just reminds me of like heavyweights when they have to go through all those stations.
yes.
To move forward.
Do you think we're gonna have to finish a puzzle to move forward?
Know.
Or do you think it like gets you a bonus? It's like an extra whiskey shot, you know? Like I'm really curious.
I'm very intrigued.
I like that it is grassroots. I mean, obviously it's great that it's free. Registration for events, the price just keeps getting higher and higher. Sure, people need to put money in their pockets for organizing all this stuff, but it's great that it's a free event, and it's something that like has been going on for a while, right? Like people talk about it. It's sort of a local legend, if you will. It has its own laurel wreath on Strava. Pretty brutal. But I think the four of us and a few others should be doing it together. And
Marcus. Is Brian doing it?
I believe Brian St. Pierre will be doing it, and hopefully some others. Like, and
I'm assuming Jason's doing it.
I think so. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, it seems like it should be a lot of fun.
As long as it's not pouring rain.
Right.
Yeah.
I just was in Arcadia yesterday. I kind of hope it rains the day before because it's really sandy right now.
Yeah.
Do you think the rain will benefit?
Yeah, it'll pack stuff down. It's just like beach sand in a lot of areas.
Yeah. Does anyone have any other events or things they're looking forward to? Brian and Jeremy are running all the time, which they just ran. They
I'm
just
gonna bring that up.
they went on a run yesterday, and so I just want to just
We didn't
drag
go
them.
on a run.
You went on a run.
We did a race.
You
We
participated
ran
in a race. That's what you went on a run. It just was long, and you had a number on. It's the same as going on a ride.
The only runs I've done this year have been races.
He's
How
got
many?
the runs.
How many have you done? Races?
just two.
Two. Brian, you did two
Yeah, I
this
got
year?
like 35 miles long. Brian has like 50 miles.
I thought we did 3 races this year.
Yeah.
Running races?
You both did that
Maybe we've
yesterday.
only
How you
done
feeling
2.
today?
I
Feel
felt
good.
10 miles?
I felt pretty
10-mile
stiff.
race. We had a 7:30 pace,
Yep.
and I finished 8th in my age group.
Yeah, I finished 8th in my age group too.
So
Nice.
it was good. It was a good pace, and then for some reason we signed up for a half marathon this morning.
13.1 miles?
Yeah, that's June 25th in Bristol, Rhode Island.
Yeah, I've run a lot
And we
of
have
half marathons.
another race before that, May 22nd, which is the Harpoon 5-miler in Boston.
That's cool.
You get a harpoon at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, they give you
Couple.
a harpoon. You get to spear a fish.
You actually have to catch a fish with it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how this started, honestly.
How
I
the
don't-
running
I think-
thing started?
Yeah,
Me neither.
I don't know. But I still like bikes way more.
Yeah, I did too.
I just think this year I kind of wanted to be more well-rounded.
Sure.
And I don't know, just started doing it. I started running with like Meg a lot more because her and her dad do a lot of races. So
Yep.
I think that was kind of like cool to be able to do that with her also.
Jeremy used to run a lot more often. Is that right? That was your go-to.
That was my only cardio exercise, but I started doing that when I was I don't know how old I was, but it was back in like 2017 I started running. I got an Apple Watch and I wanted to start, getting better into shape, and I started going out and I was doing 5K, 3 miles or so. And I just kind of worked up from there, and I was working with a couple people that participated in races. And I remember the first time that one of the guys I worked with was telling me about doing a half marathon, and they were like, it's 13 miles. I was like, I could never do that.
Yeah.
And now I have at least like 40 medals on my wall that show that, you can do it. I can do it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I shit on running all the time, but
Sure. That's what this podcast is all about.
but it is like a good, easy workout. Like, throw shoes and shorts on. You don't even need to put a shirt on.
Yeah.
And in my case, like, I don't have anything else. I have my watch,
Yeah.
no keys, just leave my house and I just go for a run.
We did sign up as It's Just a Hill for the half,
Hell yeah.
for the
Nice.
half marathon.
Nice.
Yeah, we did.
So got
Nice.
to rep,
Oh, yeah, it's important.
We got a place first in our age group.
but yeah, as far back to the sign up for the cost of things.
Yeah.
It's even with running, it's insane.
Yeah.
It is. It's also expensive.
Yeah,
The race we did yesterday, it was what, $70, and we just got a shirt.
yeah, we signed up
Yeah.
kind of late. too.
Bananas. I heard there were
And
bananas.
bananas that weren't edible because
You
they
couldn't
were
even
green.
peel 'em.
They were the color of that bike. I'm not even kidding.
To clarify, the bike is green.
Yeah, the bike is very green.
That sucks. That sucks
Yeah.
so much.
So, yeah, I don't know. But the Harpoon one seems cool. You get like beer and there's free food and stuff. So
Yeah, and it's in Boston. So
shit
that'll
like
be
that
cool.
is cool. But
It's
yeah.
like downtown or something.
Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
like right through Seaport.
Nice. That's cool.
As far as other events, I have something that's not an event. I'm planning on riding to my mom's house.
You're
The
right.
second week of May
From Providence.
from Providence. It's 158 miles.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Just around 8,000 feet of climbing, so it's not too bad.
Uh-huh.
Per mileage, I guess.
Have you made the route or anything?
The route is made. I've kind of been going over it a couple times.
Yeah.
And I was just up there last weekend, and part of my drive is the route. So I was
cool.
like, Meg was driving, and I had the Strava route open.
you were, like,
I'm
watching the
all right,
dot?
This is where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, weather pending. Yeah, she's going to drive up, and I'm going to leave at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And
That's cool. Do you have to go through any like bigger metropolitan areas in Massachusetts? Like,
no, there's like Worcester.
Yep.
But I think that area is like rail trails.
Oh, okay.
there are some rail trails. It's like
Gravel
mixed
bike?
surface.
You'll
I'm
do-
bringing my Lauf
Yeah, cool.
because there is a lot of road, but there's also I tried to get as much gravel as I can
Nice.
just to like stay off the roads.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, we'll see. My plan is May 13th, which I think is a Friday.
Yeah.
And that's weather pending. I don't
Sure.
want to do it if it's going to be a shitty day or like if there's going to be a headwind the whole way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's literally, it's it's northeast the entire way. It's like a diagonal line.
Yeah.
So
How many miles again? 150?
158.
Nice.
That'd be a good day.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm in no rush, so I'm just gonna
Right, on the ride.
Yeah.
It's
Just
more
gonna-
about just like completing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my first like major ride for the year, I guess.
Yep.
That I have
All the other
planned.
rides, minor.
Well, till we do some 200s or whatever.
Right, that's something that we've been talking about, the four of us specifically, doing a 200-mile ride this year. I'd love to do it. Noah said to me, I want to do a 200-mile ride. Sometimes 100-mile rides psych me out, so I think in order to sort of break out of that pattern, I should do a 200-mile ride.
They psych you out as in
what I
like
did.
they're too long.
I just like a road century for whatever reason. Just like
Yeah. Sometimes because I think it's daunting. Like,
Yeah.
to me, when you say running a half marathon, to me, that's daunting, 13.1 miles.
Yeah.
Like, how long would that take?
Well, it takes me. I'm gonna brag again.
Yeah, please do.
If we held that pace yesterday, it would be like an hour and a half ish.
Not
Hour and 40.
my fastest half was like 7:30 pace, and it was like 140.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so, like, we've all
135.
exercised for that long.
That's like a
right?
30-mile bike
I rode my
ride.
bike 96 miles today. I rode my for like, it was like 4.5-ish hours, right? But, like,
But there's no freewheeling.
no, there's no
Or
freewheeling.
sitting down.
Unless you get Heelys.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Is there a rule in running you can't have Heelys?
Or you're pushing a baby cart and you get to jump on
oh,
the
yeah.
back.
What's easier, running uphill or running downhill?
Down.
Up.
Fuck you.
I like that. I would have said up because I feel like down.
Down
Well, it's
hurts.
harder on your...
Right?
Yeah, I guess
Down
it's
No, I
harder.
used to run a lot.
yeah. I'd say downhill.
You'd say downhill.
Uphill. Sorry.
That's true.
Yeah.
I always had
Downhill
bad,
hurts.
bad knees now.
You had
so.
like a 5-minute mile, you said, didn't you?
Oh, I don't know.
5:20. I think you told me something the other day.
I used to run 8Ks for cross country at like
Oh, okay.
5:20 pace. Or
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah. But no more. You don't run
Was that
ever.
with or without Heelys?
I have a pair of Hoka trail shoes that I run with every once in a while when I
Yeah.
I don't know, I just like feel bored with biking.
Right. Running in the woods
Trail running
seems to be the
seems
most.
fun,
Yeah. For me, seems like would be the most fun.
Except for
That's how I
like
started out.
Yeah.
probably a higher potential of rolling an ankle or something. Or
Yeah, probably.
Because of stuff, roots,
Yeah, it's just more
rocks.
engaging though, which is
Yeah.
fun. It's like
Right.
why I like mountain biking so much.
yeah,
Right. More to focus on.
Yeah, more to focus on.
There should be more trail run events.
Mike,
Yeah, there
Mike
really should
Galoob
be.
used to be the
Oh, yeah?
yeah, big guy. Yeah, they used to do a trail race. I think they still do it at Burlingame. Trail running race.
And Overland just did
Oh yeah, Overland just announced a trail run.
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty crazy too.
I did their half mile uphill.
No, not that. It's like in May. It's actually Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think it was like 3,000 feet of climbing or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
It was like intense. It's already sold out, but
Yeah,
there's
'cause
a couple different ones. I could be a little bit off with the elevation, but I know it was pretty intense.
Yeah, so there is it's over 15 miles and 3,300 feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best in Windsor, Vermont. West Windsor, Vermont. So, yeah, when they first announced this, I thought it was going to be like part of the Overland cycling weekend.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's in, like you said, it's
just Memorial
Monday,
Day.
May 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a 15-mile option and it was also a
Is there
6 mile.
Yeah, which I think is 1,200 feet or something.
Yeah. So,
Cool. Bless you.
Thank you.
Are they still doing the little trail run for Overland?
Oh, I don't know.
yeah, so that's something that now Overland is something that we're all doing this
Yeah.
year. No, you've done it
So
before.
exciting.
I did it last year. yeah.
What was the trail run that was involved with that?
Oh, they like made it out to be this whole mile run, and then I forget what the guy's name who hosts the event partook also. But you basically ran like not even 3/4 of a mile up the ski mountain that it's at, Scutney out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then back down.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
and it was just for fun.
Yeah, just as
People were just like,
Yeah.
because it's a fun like weekend. People are sort of
Yeah.
partying, hanging out, and
yeah.
yeah. Overland should be fun. I think
I'm
that's
so excited for that.
yeah. I agree. Any other like events or like things that we are trying to like push ourselves to do? Like Brian, big 150-mile ride. We're all going to try to ride 200 miles. Noah, is there anything like that just like you're trying to do this year on your bike or like adventuring or anything like that?
Yes, I have 2 big events that I've decided to put on my calendar. First one is called 24 Hours of Great Glen, which is a 24-hour mountain bike race in New Hampshire. And then I was very fortunate a few weeks ago to do a mountain bike trip out west in Utah. And there's actually another 24-hour race out there.
Oh, cool.
Where we were mountain biking that I think I'm going to try and save up a bit to get a plane ticket for and fly out there and race.
So what are the logistics of a 24-hour race? Is that you by yourself? Is there?
It's loops.
It's loops.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually kind of asking Lael Wilcox, like,
yeah.
or like I guess you watch like her or Lachlan Morton or something do these 40-hour bike rides, and you're like, what are you doing? What's the point of all this?
Right.
But yeah, like it's funny. I made that mention about how the 100-mile road ride really gets to me. Like I can ride the mountain bike for days if I needed to. But yeah.
What do you mean by loops? It's like one big loop.
Yeah, it's like an 8-mile loop, the Great Glen. So you can do.
Oh, and you do it for 24 hours.
Yeah, and you can do teams, or you can do individual.
Wild, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So, and you might not ride for the full 24
hours. You don't get
hours.
sick of the same thing.
Probably get in the zone, get in the groove, get sick of it sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get sick of my bike just on a 50-mile ride.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like mentally for a second, right? It doesn't happen often, but sometimes you're like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what's really funny is like I was watching
Yeah.
that one of the EF videos recently where Lachlan Morton was doing, GB Dura, I think. And he was towards the end of it and he was just like, what am I doing out here? Like I have a wife and other responsibilities. And then like you come, and I got this from when I did the North South Trail Challenge, like towards the end of it, which was like 18 and a half hours of bike riding. You just kind of like get to this point where you're like, there's nothing else I need to be doing right now. Like this is what I should be doing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like when you sort of strip everything else away, right? It's something that Brian and I talked about when we went bike packing. It was like, that's all you cared about. You woke up in the morning and it was like, what are you going to do today?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, we needed to eat and find a place to sleep, but it was just like, just ride. Like, there were no other responsibilities.
Yeah.
Which is very freeing, because like something that we talked about on the last roundtable episode when Jared was here was like balancing your life with cycling, right? Like, we are not professional cyclists. We all have full-time jobs. Noah, you're a full-time student, right? Like there's a lot of things like going on in our lives that like you really sit back and you're like, you can be like, oh, what am I doing with my time? But then to me, it's like rewarding, you know? And like, I'm not necessarily trying to be the fastest out there or the strongest out there, but to me, it's like big for like my mental health and just like escapism a little bit. Yeah. So I think like, I don't know, Jeremy, you like, what, like, do you ever have times where you're like, I don't want to ride my bike anymore? Or is it always like bring you the same type of happiness, like no matter what type of ride it is? Or
well, recently, when I say recently, over the past year since I've been riding more consistently, I feel like I have a better head, mindset when it comes to riding. Because I've already told myself that I'm trying to ride as much as I can this year, and like from now on out. Yeah. And I've made some like different career changes, and I'm trying to set myself up so I can focus on the things that I like to do, like cycling or just being active in general, and not regret, spending so much time doing that. I'm really the rest of my life I just want to relax and do what I want to do.
Right, a good balance.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm not saying when I'm riding I'm not questioning like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's not like I never regret riding my bike. I never regret doing anything active.
Yeah.
I've never once like gotten done with something and been like, shit, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Even if I hurt myself, like I hurt myself yesterday. I thought I hurt myself from running. My knee was just fucked up like every other time I run. Mm-hmm. And I didn't regret that at all. I actually felt like it was rewarding.
Sure,
that
it's super accomplishing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you felt it was rewarding that you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
No, I mean, that's a positive way of looking at it, though, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
What's that when you like
This guy's got some kinks.
Yeah, what's that when
You're a
enjoy-
masochist.
Masochist, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a masochist thing, but I associate like being like the feeling of being beaten up with like a good feeling. You know,
Yeah.
it hurts. Like it hurts to walk down the
We know
stairs.
what we're doing when the episode's over. Kicking Jeremy's ass. Fucking gang up on Jeremy. Just stop
No,
it.
please don't. Please don't.
No, don't hit me.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the feeling. It's like a feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah.
It's like putting yourself through like a shitty or like the Greylock ride.
Yeah.
Like doing something like that.
Right.
You can only grow
Feels-
through discomfort.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to do it.
Pushing your
But
boundaries.
you put your body through it, and then when
Right.
you finish, you're like, that was sick.
Yeah, it was awesome. Feel great about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, you know, times in my life where I had agreed to do things or like, you know, not really signed up, but agreed to do things that I wasn't too excited about or like something that I would regret. But whenever I sign up for a race, like a bike race or a running race, I'm like actually excited to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Right.
Like all last weekend or ever since I like signed up for the running race that we did yesterday, I was like actually looking forward to it.
Right.
I was having nightmares about like
Missing
Not-
it or
yeah,
something,
missing
or your
it.
alarm not going off.
I had a dream where I had actually run the race, but I didn't remember running it, and I was like so sad.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, it's weird. It's like it's just doing these physical activities. Yeah, I enjoy it. You know, it's
Yeah.
I know that it's like what I should be doing because I feel that way about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
To go off a little comic relief on about the race yesterday, there was a moment after we finished where the inflatable finish and start
Oh,
arch,
yeah.
the generator died.
Oh.
And it deflated.
Ran out of gas. It was
So
falling.
it
So it was, like, in
fell
the way?
over the finish line, and
Oh, my
people
God.
that were finishing had to like dodge under it. And
Oh,
then there was
my
like
God.
5 guys holding it up like this, while the guys filling it with gas and
'Cause
then,
the generator's
pulling it,
dying.
trying to start it. That was pretty great.
They're yelling, "Hurry! Hurry up! It's closing!"
You got to better finish the race before the inflatable thing comes out,
that's
and then it doesn't
the time
count.
limit. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to finish it before
Yeah.
it drops.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like looking forward to just like riding with you guys more, just like riding with friends more. You know,
Yeah.
it's like It's Just a Hill is like not quite a year old. Our first group ride was in May of 2021. So it's like I feel like we sort of like we were starting to hitting a stride like later in the season, right? And now it's just like continuing to grow this year and like doing more like day trips and events and like grassroots things like Greasy Joe's. Like that's what I want to do with the club, right? Is like put together an event and just like have it start at some random parking lot and like give people like grill up a bunch of hot dogs at the end or something, you know? Like to me it's about the community and like the conversation and going and then it's sort of that like camaraderie of like doing it together, right? Like the three of us, not to leave you out, Jeremy, but you bragged enough earlier. We did Greylock together, right? And like doing it together was such like a push that had I just had neither of you signed up for it, I probably wouldn't have signed up for it either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a good Kenyan proverb related to running, but if you want to go if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Wow, beautiful. I love that.
That makes sense.
Should have ended the episode on that. Shit.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not going to get much better than that.
No, we can edit it.
Yeah, I'll just put it in again.
Look at
Put
more
it at the end.
proverbs.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anyone think of another good proverb before we get out of here?
Read the classic loop description from Jason, and maybe that'll be a good way to.
Is there a classic loop description? I'm going to pull that up here.
Fucking sucks.
Is there anything else anyone would like to talk about? Anything that they're looking forward to or like message they want to spread or anything before we get out of here as I pull up the classic loop?
I'm just excited for warm weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's here-ish.
Yeah, warm weather, and just riding. I definitely want to try to do more gravel this year.
Yeah.
and just like get better at that. And I don't know, bikes. Just ride bikes.
How do you find a loop easily on desktop? You don't. I'm going to have to go on my phone. Wow. Okay.
Is it on the Facebook description?
Oh, man.
Is that what you mean?
Oh, I'm just joking. I don't know. Actually.
Oh, shoot.
I just thought it would be some like cynical thing.
I hope it is.
It's like,
I really hope it is.
The Facebook description is pretty. The Facebook event page, I think, it has a pretty good description.
I also love the image of it. It's like the funniest guy with like a stick and bindle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, course details. Both loops will not be marked, and there are no cue sheets as we are lazy. Hence, you have to follow the unmarked route using a GPS.
No top tube stickers? What the hell?
Greasy Joe's an adventure challenge ride that rambles on the paved, gravel, double, single track, and primitive, unmaintained roads of Rhode Island. You may have to dismount for the more challenging primitive surface types. Yeah. Ride is calling for cross, gravel, flat bar, mountain bike. Noah, what kind of bike are you going to ride?
my Grace.
Your Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think there'll be people there on mountain bikes?
Yeah, some people do.
Yeah. That's what it was like when I did the mixtape a couple weeks ago. Like, there were people on full suspension mountain bikes. Yeah. And they crushed it on those single track sections, but they hit the road.
One of the paves during Overland. So last year at Overland, it started raining like 5 seconds before the start, and it just poured for the first probably 25 miles or so. Yeah. And we were going down this pave section. There's one guy on a mountain bike, and he definitely was a downhill mountain biker because he just went
like flying
right by us. Yeah.
Was that the guy that was? You said there was a guy yelling, like flying by people.
Oh no, that was a guy that was like yelling because his brakes weren't working around a corner, and it went flying by us and just like slid into the dirt and crashed. Yeah, it was chaos.
I did see one pair of sunglasses at the mixtape, and it reminded me of your story of Overland, where people just had their sunglasses all over the side.
It went from there must have been 1,200 people from a dirt road to like pave single track, downhill craziness in a mile.
They changed that
or two,
year, right?
And they were just like Roca sunglasses just
everywhere. Yeah.
And people were just cursing and yelling at each other. And I mean, I'm not an aggressive person, but I was like, keep riding your bike. We all stopped. We might as well just stand here for a little while and hang out.
Jeez.
So yeah, great episode. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, John.
I will close with one more quote from Pinhead here. That is part of the classic loop description. Open quotes, unbearable, isn't it? The suffering of strangers, the agony of friends. Closed quote. That's also Pinhead. So thank you, Pinhead. Thank you, Greasy Joes. And thank you for listening or watching. And thank you three for being here as the moderator of this podcast. And I hope you think of me more than just a moderator. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Decaf left, regular right. Decaf left, regular right. It's very challenging work.